once we take off. Space launch live, first time in nearly a decade. American astronauts on an American spacecraft launching from American soil.
15 seconds.
15 seconds.
And here comes the countdown now.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff of the Falcon 9 and Crew Dragon. Go NASA, go
Wow.
Godspeed, spot a dog.
Godspeed. God bless. No copyright infringement intended. Wow.
And 1D throttle down.
What's going faster?
It's because they are getting ready for the most aerodynamic stressful part of this flight. So they take the power down just slightly.
Almost 1,000 kilometers per hour. There you go.
1,000 per hour mark. That's 621 miles per hour.
So the vehicle supersonic.
And 1D throttle up.
Throttling up. There's max Q. The max
Wow.
aerodynamic pressure peak. The most mechanical
1,500
on the rocket. As I
kilometers
look
per
up,
hour.
We can still see the orange glow, and I tell you what, it took 5 seconds for the vibration and sound from that liftoff to affect us here. You can still see it just screaming almost straight up, even though they're pointing a little bit downrange now.
Start that back in chill.
Approaching rapidly 3,000 kilometers per hour. That is 1,864 miles per hour.
Chris, while you see that plume coming out of the back of the fin, that's because there's not as much atmospheric pressure on it, so that's why it expands out like that. And we are getting, that first stage engine is going to fire for about another 20
fast.
26 seconds.
Christian, that is really a step that we want to pay attention to. That separation.
Oh, they're outside of the Earth.
That will then return back to Earth.
Gosh, that's fast.
Yeah, we're going to get very busy here in about 5 seconds. You're going to see MECO, the main engine cutoff, and then you're going to see the separation. And standing by for that.
There you go.
MECO.
Falcon stage separation confirmed.
The separation.
So the main shutdown, and you see separation there too. That
And
is
back
the first
ignition.
stage falling away.
See also
Now the second stage is going to fire.
Leaving the stage 2. They're now approaching 7,000 kilometers per hour, which is 4,049 miles per hour.
Now the thing to watch now, Chris, is that first stage. It's going to be
nominal.
That means that's good news. That's the rocket that's still on the Dragon, is doing its job, moving these guys into an orbit that'll put about 200 kilometers below the space station. And you can actually see that second photo. It's great to see inside. There's the triple screen of the 2 astronauts. The Dragon and the Falcon are basically, actually it's the second stage now, are on autonomous power. But Chris, we really want to pay attention to that first stage. As Davenport says, it's a secondary mission, but it sure is cool to watch it land on that ship out in the Atlantic.
Quickly approaching 8,000 kilometers per hour, which is nearly 5,000 miles per hour. They are really moving. And Bob and Doug appearing very, very cool, calm, and collected in the Dragon capsule. Amazing to get that live shot of what they're experiencing. I want to bring in Mike Massimino. Mike, take us through what Bob and Doug are going through.
Stage 2 propulsion is still nominal.
Yeah, they are so well trained for this, Chris. They've had countless simulations, played every emergency possible. And they're just looking and hoping and praying that everything's going well. It looks like it is. I know that first stage, we're going to be excited to see that, but the world that Bob and Doug are living in is just making sure that that engine is continuing to burn, that they're still on the right trajectory. All the systems are looking good, and it looks like they are. As we see them just watching, that's probably a good sign. That means all the automatic sequences are working well. We don't hear too much chatter coming from the control center, from MCC. That's a good thing too.
Almost to 10,000.
And when you hear that word nominal,
go ahead, Mike, I'm sorry.
when you hear that word nominal coming, no, it's fine. When you hear that word nominal, that's always good. That's the NASA jargon for everything is A-OK. We're looking good, just like we expect. So we want to keep hearing that for a few more minutes and get those engines cut and get them in space safely.
And there's that 10,000 kilometers per hour threshold, which is just over 6,200 miles per hour. And the picture on the right, I have to keep reminding myself that that's a live shot. It looks like the greatest science fiction movie ever produced. It's just so fantastic that the launch was a go today and has been a success so far. Really, really amazing stuff. David Curley, what's the feeling like on the ground? Are you seeing the first stage rocket at all coming back?
Not yet. You can see it. It's got about another 3 minutes until it'll do its entry burn, and there are 9 Merlin rocket engines on that.
Nominal trajectory.
They say everything is normal with their trajectory, meaning they're heading onto the right path to try and get on the effort to catch up to the space station. So you're seeing in the first stage, you can see those grid fins that you mentioned, Chris Jacobs, that will help guide it. But at 8:45, so plus 8:45, coming up in about 2 minutes, you'll see 3 of those 9 engines fire to slow it down. The first stage doesn't have any of that protection when it comes back into the atmosphere. So the way they overcome that is by firing the engines and slowing it down enough that when it re-enters the atmosphere, it won't burn up. And it'll be a 34-second burn of that entry stage of those 3 engines to bring us in. And seeing some of these pictures of Doug and Bob in the capsule is just remarkable. We haven't seen a lot of American astronauts fly.
Propulsion is still good.
And just to clarify, that picture on the left is the Stage 2 rocket propelling the Crew Dragon capsule. The picture on the right is actually the Stage 1 Falcon 9 rocket returning to Earth. So those are actually moving in opposite directions as we pass the 15,000 kilometers per hour mark, which is approaching 9,400 miles per hour.
You know, Chris, SpaceX would love to get this booster back. And as we mentioned earlier, they learn a lot when they get these rockets back and take a look at them, but it is secondary. That's
There we go.
picture on your left.
Entry
The
burn.
second stage, as Massimino said, that's what you want to burn. You want that burn to go exactly as it should on the right trajectory. This was an instantaneous launch. They had to go at the right time. There's your start of your entry burn on the right.
Stage
You
2
see it.
FTS is saved.
It's a little bit early, but they're coming.
Falcon 9 rocket is
So this
coming
is
in
the
hot,
burn that's...
literally.
Yeah, this slows it down. This is going for about 35 seconds, as I mentioned, just to slow it down. And if you watch those grid fins, you can start to see them kind of move. And that's what keeps this, as we heard earlier in one of the pieces, you know, landing a pencil, that's what keeps it north and south or up and down as it's coming down back into land. And it is landing on a drone ship in the Atlantic.
Start to move. Nearly
So
22,000
that burn is over.
kilometers per
The
hour.
next thing we're going to see,
Terminal guidance.
we will see that at 9:27 plus, everything's good, they say. Those are the reports from Mission Control. So coming up in about a minute, we'll see the final burn. And as Davenport has told us before, you don't always get to see the landing because, you know, you got a camera that's getting shaken and, you know, this is a rocket actually that's coming back. There you lost the picture. That's kind of what happens.
And there's the 25,000 kilometers per hour, which is 15,534 miles per hour. So again, continuing to accelerate as they make their way to orbit.
MVAC throttle step. MVAC shut down.
There's the second stage engine cut off right there. And that will be jettisoned.
That's good news,
soon
Chris.
as well.
That means that they've got
Dragon
their.
SpaceX nominal orbital insertion.
There they go.
Launch escape system is disarmed.
That's great news. And that's even better news. So they're in the orbit they're supposed to be in. They have just de-armed the escape system. They are where they're supposed to be at the right time. And in a couple of minutes, we will see separation of the Dragon and loss of that second stage. That's really good news. And Chris, you asked a little bit about the atmosphere down here. There were some people here, even though they didn't open the gates, who were applauding as that Falcon 9 took off and really rattled our chests.
And it looks like Falcon 9 has returned successfully to that drone ship. Just amazing, amazing technology that quickly, in under 10 minutes, that Falcon 9 rocket has propelled Doug and Bob into orbit and has returned safely to its drone trip. I mean, hats off to SpaceX for developing that technology. Truly incredible. Now, Mike Massimino, if you'd like to weigh in if you'd like to weigh in at this stage, Mike Massimino, Bob and Doug now, you can see they're experiencing weightlessness. They're breaking out their mementos that they've brought from home. What are they experiencing right now?
Utter joy is what it is, and I'm very happy for them. This is great coverage. Those cameras we have, that's another advancement. We didn't have those cameras in the shuttle program. We had, like, we used to call it a lipstick camera. One camera we mount on the back of one of the flight engineers, and that's all you had. Now we've got them all over the vehicle, inside the cabin, outside, on the rocket. It's just a wonderful experience we all can share in. But they are feeling utter joy. They are euphoric. They are sublime. They are really happy that they got through that launch system, through that launch sequence. They're really happy to be in orbit and to bring the United States back. Both of these guys are military officers. Bob from the Air Force, Doug a Marine. They are so happy to have done this from American soil again. It's a great day, not just for the United States, but for the whole world, to have the capability to launch from the U.S. again with people inside. And they are just so proud and so grateful that so many people made this possible for them to be a part of. And so they're happy that they're there, and they're proud of being on the team, and they are very, very grateful for what we've done today. And all of us can be proud of what we've accomplished.
Mike, just 11 and a half minutes into their 19-hour journey, so a lot longer to go before they reach the ISS. What do they do now for the next 18 hours and 50 minutes?
Yeah, they get ready. They have to transfer to an orbital stage. We used to call it post-insertion. I'm sure they still call it the same thing. There's usually no rest when they're weary. There's plenty of things to do. They're going to have to set up their cockpit so they can get ready to do their rendezvous. They're probably going to get some rest coming up here, I would think, before they do rendezvous as the final rendezvous and docking. They'll probably maybe
Dragon
get
separation
see
confirmed.
how they're feeling. That's the other thing. It's been a while since either of these guys have been in space. Doug has been almost 9 years, and Bob maybe just a little bit longer than that. I was a Capcom for his last flight. So they've got to get their space legs back, and sometimes you don't feel as well as you'd like when you're first unstrapped because your body's getting used to it. Your vestibular system is not working any longer. But I think these guys will probably be just fine. So hopefully they're feeling well. They'll get what they can done. Continue with the checklist. Get right into it right away. And there's probably not much rest. If it's anything like it was with the shuttle, I'm sure it is. They still have to go right into the orbital phase as soon as they can.
Now, Mike, we just heard from Launch Control that they confirmed Dragon separation, meaning that stage 2 has now been jettisoned from the capsule. So these guys are truly autonomous now in the capsule. It's a self-propelling capsule, self-driving capsule, but these guys can also control it. They're going to be doing that along the way to the International Space Station, correct?
Out of you guys and the rest of the team.
Yeah, especially for this flight.
Thank you so much for what you've done for us today, putting America back into low Earth orbit from the Florida coast.
Copy out. Good luck. Godspeed.
We just heard Doug and Bob communicating with Launch Control, giving them their thanks. Launch Control, of course, responded
Dragon SpaceX, we confirm nominal equal activation and service section Draco checkout. Nose cone deployment in progress.
That was live.
Now they mentioned that
Space launch
is in progress. The nose
Launch
cone will actually
America.
open up, and that will help them with navigation.